Welcome to Tell Us What You Made, the show where we each make a dish using one common ingredient or theme. Then get together, compare notes, and see if we can learn anything. For this episode, Alvin, Jen, and I each made a different dish using an ingredient that I chose, which is mochi. And the reason I chose mochi is because I love the Q texture, I love everything mochi. Just really curious to see what everyone is doing with one of my favorite foods in the world. Today we're being joined by Jen Fujikawa. She's written 4 cookbooks and has a ton of delicious mochi recipes on her website. Welcome, Jen.
Hi, Inka. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Hi, Alvin, too.
Hi, Alvin.
Hi.
Alvin, you're up first. Tell us what you made.
I made Hawaiian-style butter mochi, something I've always wanted to try and something that I'm very excited to show you guys.
Saw that Jen gave like a little nod of approval. I feel like that's gonna be the entire episode. We're just gonna be like, is Jen nodding?
That sounds good to me.
As long as Jen is happy, I'm happy.
All right.
I make butter mochi every year for New Year's, actually. So I love butter mochi.
Oh, mine is not going to be as good as yours, but I
I'm
still
sure it
would
will
love-
be.
Immediately backtracks.
It'll be perfect.
Actually, I'm just gonna sign off. You guys can. Jen. So the recipe I'm using, I found from a woman named Alana Kaisar. I apologize if I mispronounce your name, but she has a blog and her recipe looked really good, so I decided to give it a shot. So I'm starting with mochiko flour, which is a sweet rice flour from Coda Farms that I got off of Amazon. So that's going into a bowl with some white sugar. Yeah, don't mind me just taking out what did I even take out? I don't remember. I'm gonna pick out an unidentifiable object from this bowl. After that, I'm adding some baking powder and some kosher salt, giving that a whisk until all these dry ingredients are basically no lumps. Oh wow, it's going everywhere. What am I? Where's my other hand? Why is my other hand not stabilizing? And then in another bowl, I'm cracking a couple of eggs. These are some nice eggs that I got from Vital Farms. Giving them a whisk as well. There is going to be a lot of whisking in this video. And followed up with some milk and vanilla extract. So honestly, pretty simple ingredients, I would say, that everybody probably has lying around at home. I think that's also why I was excited to make it, because it didn't need too much extra things.
Ooh, that looks good.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. So the dry ingredients now get to be friends with the wet ingredients. She specifies that it's easy to do with a wooden spoon to mix these two together. I don't know, Jen, if you have any experience with why a wooden spoon is good, but it did work really well for me, and I really beat the crap out of it till no lumps remain.
I don't know why it works, but it does. Must be like some old school thing. How they did it in the olden days.
How do you do it?
Well, I start with a whisk because mochiko is so lumpy, and if you don't get it thoroughly combined, then you get these little white things, and you don't want that when you're serving it, which is probably what you picked out in the bowl in the beginning. So yeah, I think the wooden spoon is probably magical.
I'm so glad, because I have 3 of those, and I feel validated by everything that you're saying, so thank you. But also, there's no gluten, right? So you can feel free to really mix it and beat it and not have any issues like you might have with regular flour. So I think that's what I really enjoyed, was that I could just keep going if I wasn't sure.
Yeah, totally.
And in goes some coconut milk. This is kind of where the fun starts. And the butter. So this is just some unsalted butter that I melted. Again, the wooden spoon, like Jen said, is a magical tool for making butter mochi, apparently. So this mixture is quite wet. It's quite liquidy. It's even more liquidy than pancake batter. So I was really surprised that this will bake up into something. So I was really excited to kind of get it going.
Oh, see, look how good you are. You're sieving it. I don't even bother because I don't have time for that. But yours is perfection because you take the time to sieve it.
Is it significantly better? Is it worth the effort?
It's totally worth the effort because it, like I said, mochiko is so lumpy and there's always little bits. So the best thing to do is to sieve it, but I don't.
I didn't do it because I wanted to be perfect. I did it because I knew that I probably didn't do it right the first time.
Don't
I
say
think
that.
this-
Just say it. Just say that you did it because you know you're perfect. Like,
I know I'm perfect, so that's why I saved. This is the kind of support that I really need in my life. And then there's some air bubbles that I missed. So I'm popping them with a fork because Alana said that it helps and sort of tapping it, and if you don't get any big breakages near the top. After that, Alana said to put some shredded coconut on top. I only decided to put it on half because I have friends who don't like coconut and I wanted to give this away. But I also wanted to know what it would be like without any coconut on top. And into an oven around 350, 325 or so. And this bakes for quite a long time. It said like 60 to 70 minutes. It was such a long bake. That was crazy.
Yeah, it takes forever.
Is it like at a low temperature?
It's not actually low. It's at 350, which is pretty normal
Oh, wow.
for baked goods. I think it's because maybe it's so liquidy, Jen. I don't know if you know what happens, but it takes so long for it to
Yeah.
finish baking.
It's because it's so liquidy, and you're using like an entire box of mochiko and then 4 eggs, so it takes a while. It's almost like a super thick custard.
But it was like bubbly and the butter was coming up and it smelled so good and the toasted coconut. I walked out of my room and I was like, oh my God, this smells amazing.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you. And you know, for me, I always like to put a little finishing salt on desserts because I like salty and sweet together. It needs to cool for a long time as well. I cooled it until nighttime. There's no more sunlight in the shot.
It is a big chunk. Maybe that's why, huh?
Yeah, and so this is me at night at like 11 p.m. when it was finally cool. Because I believe Alana said that if it's too warm and you cut it, it sticks to your knife. And this is very sticky. So I was like making sure that this was as cool as possible, nice and moist. And it was still kind of hard to cut through because it was so soft.
Yeah, like in the old Japanese cookbooks, they tell you specifically to use a plastic knife. That way it doesn't stick, because otherwise you're just like cutting and pulling and cutting and pulling and they come out all like weird shaped.
So wooden spoons and plastic knives.
Yeah,
Magician's tools.
exactly. But yeah, look at this texture. I was so surprised.
That looks great.
I just wanted to eat it. I think I did because it was 11 and I usually don't eat that late, but I was like, no way, I gotta eat this.
So was the coconut better or the plain better?
I think they're different. I think coconut gives you a different flavor. I just really loved how the butter that kind of bubbled on the surface kind of toasted and like fried the coconut. I would say the coconut one is like the friend that you really like to go out and drink with and party with, but the one without the coconut is maybe like your best friend, where even though you're not doing crazy stuff all the time, you always have a good time hanging out with them.
That's a good description.
But some people don't like coconut, so. This is the bounty. This is the pile of butter mochi that I made. Jen, what do you think? I have to know.
That looks great. That looks really good. Like I said, I make it for New Year's every year and people love it because you can just grab it and eat it and it's sweet. And like you said, it's kind of hefty, I think, too. It's really filling. So even a small square makes you feel completely full. But yours is beautiful. It looks great.
Thanks. I had like 6 that night. Maybe that's why I woke up next day feeling very bloated. Oh, you're right.
Possibly.
All right, that was my mochi recipe. Jen, I think you're up next. Please tell us what you made.
I made a Neapolitan mochi bundt cake with 3 layers and colors. And the funny thing is, in watching your recipe, mine is very similar. It's almost like a butter mochi base, but it has a little bit of extra ingredients to make it more like party-ish, I guess, because it's in a bundt form. But it's pretty close.
I've never heard those 3 words in the same sentence. Neapolitan, mochi,
Yeah.
and bundt.
Every New Year's, I throw a huge Oshogatsu New Year's Day party, and like 30 to 40 family members come over, and I cook for 3 days, and I make 20 to 25 dishes by myself. And then part of that is this almost mochi buffet that I make. So I make daifuku mochi, I make butter mochi. I was trying to think of things that I could make to like cut up for potluck style party food, so this is what I came up with. Also, it's really colorful and very Instagram worthy, so people like it.
Can Inka and I go to this party one day?
Yeah, I was
course.
like, how do I snag an invite?
Yeah, totally. It's like an open house. People just come in and out all day. But so like Alvin's recipe, I also started out with a
same
box
shot.
of Coda Farms mochiko. They make the best mochiko, honestly. So, and you should really sift this before you throw it in the bowl. But again, I'm not as good as Alvin. I just dump it in. So, and then I added some baking powder and salt, and I whisked it all together to try and get the lumps out. Doesn't always work. And there's also sugar in there, by the way, I forgot. So there's sugar, mochiko, baking powder, and salt. And then a can of evaporated milk. I feel like all baked mochi recipes go together well with evaporated milk. And then butter, always butter. I think the difference between mine and the butter mochi one is there's more butter, which is always a good thing.
Oh my lord. No, that was egg.
Yeah, 4 eggs. Not butter on butter. 4 eggs, and then I beat the eggs before I put them in, so again, it kind of like all comes together pretty quickly. And this is a really good 1 bowl recipe if you didn't add that Neapolitan layer. You could just mix it all together and throw it in a bundt pan and be done with it, but to make it extra fancy, we're gonna split it up, you'll see. And then vanilla.
Wait, that spoon's not wooden.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is spoon? No.
Well, see, that's why mine's not as good as yours, because I didn't use a wooden
don't
spoon.
say that.
I used what I had next to me. So the part that I guess I didn't show here is then after I did that, I split the batter into 3 bowls. That's how you're going to get the 3 different colors. So one bowl you just kind of leave plain. You can see it in the background in the blue bowl. And then 2 of the bowls, in the first bowl, I added cocoa powder and chocolate chips. So this is going to be like the chocolatey layer.
Whoa.
And I use mini chocolate chips, so you really get a lot of chocolate in that layer. And again, I didn't use a wooden spoon. What happened? What am I thinking? So you have the brown layer, the chocolate layer, the plain vanilla layer, and then the pink. And that's where it gets really bright and colorful. I use gel dye so it doesn't dilute the batter. And I use a bright pink. It looks a little red here, but when it bakes out, you'll see it's pretty bright.
Okay.
So now you have 3 bowls of batter. So you can see this is my really old beat up bundt pan. It's the only one that works really well. I bought a lot of nice, like expensive new ones, and none of them are as good as my mom or my grandma's. I don't even know whose this is at releasing cake. So I always keep using this particular bundt pan. And so then you put in your different layers. So the first layer is the chocolate layer that has the cocoa and the chocolate chips. And then I put the vanilla layer and just kind of shake it out. Like you were saying, Alvin, to tap it, to get the bubbles out is a good thing. But then for this one, you don't want to tap too much because you want to make sure the layers are even. So this is the plain layer going around. And I just kind of cover up the bottom one haphazardly. And then I add the pink layer on top. Watching this in speed makes me think, oh my gosh, I should be more careful. But it tastes good in the end. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You bake this for an hour at 350. Similarly, it takes a really long time, but the fact that it's in a bundt helps because the middle in there dissipates the heat, so it comes out a little bit faster than the butter mochi. So it looks like a normal bundt, but when you cut it, that's where the surprise comes. So I think that's why people like it at parties.
Woo, right.
And it has that same sort of chewy consistency. That's what I like. It's like mochi, but it's almost like a pound cake too, because it has butter and sugar and eggs, and it's totally gluten-free. I think that's the other thing too, is a lot of baked mochi cake recipes include flour, but I wanted to make something that was totally gluten-free, especially because it's a party food, and I didn't, if people have allergies or whatever.
That's so cool. It's beautiful.
The texture, is it more similar to a pound cake, or is it more similar to a butter mochi, or just something in between?
It's kind of like a hybrid. It's chewy, but it has that same sort of feeling of a pound cake.
I'm imagining that it's like probably very dense.
It is very dense, but I think the eggs and the butter kind of elevate it a little bit, so you do feel like you're just eating a slice of cake. And you can change the colors up.
Matcha and chocolate.
Yeah.
That's what I would do, yeah.
That looks incredible.
So that was my Neapolitan mochi bundt. And now, Inka, tell us what you made.
I made mochi puff pastry.
What?
It literally is just, wait, I shouldn't give it away yet, but like, think of the simplest thing you could do. Mochi puff pastry. That's what I did.
How is that simple?
I want to admit something, I have to confess something. When I suggested mochi to Adam and Liza for this episode, I was just like, oh, everyone has a mochi block, and what would you do with the mochi block? That's kind of my original idea. So now I'm like, dang, y'all like went all out, and I'm like, well, you know, anyways, you'll see. So mochi puff pastry is essentially puff pastry wrapped around mochi. And this was an idea that my mom has been encouraging me to do back home, like in Hong Kong. It was like a thing right now to like wrap puff pastry around, actually specifically it's rice dumplings, you know, the Chinese like tangyuan. It's not mochi, but they're both made of glutinous rice. I feel really bad because I feel like I barely did anything this time.
Jen, for context, Inka in these episodes usually brings out the most like crazy, wacky, wild, extravagant recipes. So even though she's saying she didn't really do a lot of work, that's definitely not going to be true.
Okay, well, here we go. As you can see, these are my ingredients. You really just need 2 things. Even though you see a lot here, that's because I just went to the grocery store and bought every single flavor pretty much. I just wanted to see which one was the tastiest, you know?
There's a boba one?
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds good.
And then just some classic puff pastry. So all you need to do for this is just defrost your puff pastry, roll it out, and then essentially what I'm going to do is just cutting it into square shapes. I know you can get like real fancy with it. Like if you want, you can do different designs. I'm just doing plain old squares. And then I just grabbed my rice ball, tangyuan, and literally just wrapped it around here. It's like super simple.
Damn, you weren't kidding.
I'm so sorry, Jen. This is not how I wanted to be introduced to you.
It looks good. It looks like a little snuggly blanket of pastry.
But the thing is, right, this is a hack that my mom has told me about for a long time. I really want to give it a try. And then I'm just brushing a layer of egg yolk on top to make it shiny. And actually, so my mom encouraged me to use the air fryer for this, which is why I chose to do that method instead of baking it or other ways. And it's actually super straightforward, right? Two ingredients, right? And then put it in 8 minutes at 350, I believe. And then basically air fryer done, and you can see that that's what it looks like. It's just like a little beautiful ball of golden butteriness.
It looks like little dim sum.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And you can see that when you cut it open, you get that like melty center, and you get the thin layer of glutinous rice around it. That's kind of what it looks on the inside, and I was just really excited. It was also very hot when I cut into it. Not shown as me burning my tongue. So basically that's what I did with all of these flavors you see here. This is why I say I'm so extra. I literally just picked one flavor from each pack and then did the same thing for all of them. My little army of tangyuans.
You should mark each one so you know what's in there, like how they do on dim
I
sum
know,
with
that's
the,
what I
with
should
the
have
red.
done.
or
That's
the-
what I should have done. Cut out a little puff pastry and like mark it that way, yeah. So it's just a little pile of puff pastries, and I believe I cut them all open. Yeah, look at that.
Wow, that's cool.
Like, I think this is such a, like a fun, like sort of like party platter situation you can easily make, right, for friends. I know mochi roulette was like a thing, but it could kind of be like that, where it's like, which one are you gonna get?
And then if you really want to be mean, you can put one of them with like
Wasabi? Yeah,
or just
I know.
like a shallot.
Yeah, but you can see like each layer there, right? Like kind of the filling and how it gets all melty. But
You know what it looks like? It looks
What?
like a Scotch egg.
yes! Oh my gosh. Yeah. It does look like a Scotch egg.
A sweet Scotch egg.
I was like, okay, I have to do this with a mochi. So I bought this mochi. I bought with some Chaan Bonbon here in New York. They make their mochis from scratch. I just wanted to see what it would be like. As you can see, it's obviously much bigger, but oh my gosh. This one was like way better than the tangyuans in my opinion, because there's less sugar in the glutinous rice layer, whereas for mochi I think the sweetness was just enough. So then when I bit into it, it was chewy and sweet, and it was just like perfect. Like this one I actually finished the entire thing so fast. The other ones I think it like kind of gets a little harder, but this one was perfect.
Japanese bakeries, they sell these breads that are studded with like mochi and bean and stuff, and it's like you made your own. That's amazing.
Super easy way to make it. Everybody can do this. I was like so proud to tell my mom. I sent her pictures. I was like, look, I finally did it. Basically all of these I did in the air fryer, and I think the air fryer is just like, it makes things so convenient. I'm curious to see what it would be like in the oven.
Jen, wouldn't you agree that I had the 2 boxes of those mochiko flour, and I just found myself wanting to make so many things with it naturally, not even for a video, just like I've made mochi brownies. I found a recipe for like Japanese style butter mochi. I think it's different, I don't know. It's so fun to play with and everybody likes it and it's chewy. Do you ever get that feeling at your parties? It's just, there's something about it that's really special.
Totally. I always try and change up things too so people don't get bored of it. So like that butter mochi recipe, I changed out the sugar for brown sugar and it gives it more of like a caramel flavor. So I made this brown sugar mochi. And like you said, you have this box and you just want to keep using it. So I make mochi cornbread, and I do a lot of savory stuff too. I use the mochiko to make fried chicken. The best.
Yeah.
The best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mochiko chicken.
Yeah.
Wait, can I show you the thing that I made? I have it in the fridge because I've been snacking on it.
Is it butter mochi?
Okay, so this is a method that I found where you take the mochiko and you mix it with brown sugar. I did brown butter because I love brown butter, and milk, and then you do the microwave method. And then I use a hand mixer to do it because I didn't want to like kill my hands. And it was a very like, you cook it until it's a paste and you let it chill. I heard that this is a different style than butter mochi. It's not baked. I just made this and I wanted you to see it.
Did you like that one better or the butter mochi better?
You know how I said the one without the coconut was like kind of subtle and like your best friend? Well, this one is even more subtle, and it's like your childhood friend from like 20 years ago. And
All your friends are mochi.
all my friends are mochi.
So that was our mochi episode. We had Alvin's Hawaiian butter mochi, we had Jen's Neapolitan bundt cake, and then we also had my pastry wrapped mochi. Have you made anything recently with mochi? If so, tell us what you made. Thank you, Jen, so much for joining us again and giving us your expert advice.
Thanks so
Appreciated
much.
having
It was
you.
so
Yeah.
fun. And I'm definitely going to make both of the things that you guys made.
Tell us what you think, please.
I'm going to find my wooden spoon, too. I don't know what happened to it.
I definitely want to try your bundt cake for sure. I think that just like the layer thing is just so cool. I've never even thought about doing that before. Very
Yeah, I like your idea of using matcha, too, for a layer. That's really going to be good.
All right, it's gonna happen, you guys. It's gonna happen.